What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome everybody to Live and Learn, the only podcast where people get sick and still show up to work sometimes. Hutch. I'm the sick pill, one of your hosts. With me as always is IRI Pisco and our special guest today, Jolah Politics. Everyone welcome Jolah Politics for joining us. Thank you very much. Jolah,
Yeah, thank you for having me.
yeah, who are you? What do you do? And why do you sound like a Star Wars character?
Does my microphone sound bad?
No. Jolah. It sounds
Oh, I
like
thought you
you
meant my
belong in the Star
voice.
Wars universe.
I thought you meant I had some Darth Vader flow coming out the microphone.
No, you're good. Your quality
Yeah,
is crisp.
Jolah Politics. I'm a progressive from rural Pennsylvania. I have some experience with campaigns, with nonprofits. My master's in public policy. With content stuff, I do phone calls mainly with Trump supporters. If you want a good example of what I do, my pinned video on Instagram, Jolah Politics, and TikTok. I just had my first 1 million view clip
Nice.
ever. That's a good example of the calls I have. And I also focus on tackling the unpragmatic or anti-pragmatic, whatever the word is, parts of both I'd say the lazy center of the Democratic Party and also the far left. So yeah, thank you for having me.
But I want to ask a real quick follow-up question because my dad's family is from rural Pennsylvania. They're from, do you know Waynesburg?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're rednecks, not progressive. So what happened to you? How did you escape?
I had social workers in my family, and I went through a lot of traumatic events growing up. So I saw a lot of systemic issues. I saw alcoholism, suicide. I saw opioid addiction around me, job losses, and I saw individuals growing up who voted in ways that made those issues way worse. So it was always very frustrating. I actually grew up more conservative. And I can tell you firsthand exactly what was said in areas like mine, and it's not very surprising they vote 90% Trump, like the really aggressive anti-Semitism, aggressive racism, aggressive anger towards so-called outsiders to the community, and the decay of these like Appalachian rural towns, especially in Pennsylvania. It's not even Appalachian really, but they're still coal towns, so technically. So the loss of purpose, and then how these evil Republicans step in, sell fake garbage to them, and steal the American dream even more.
Yeah. And I guess, Pisco, are you talking? Because you're muted if you, yeah, sorry, buddy. Real quick while Pisco fixes that. I guess one thing I want to ask is a lot of people want me to have more compassion for Trump supporters, and it's harder and harder for me to do this as things get worse. Seeing as it is kind of like where you came from, how do you kind of integrate that like background of your family and your upbringing into the way I haven't seen your MAGA calls, but I can only assume if I were to go off of IRI or Parker or Dean Withers or any of these people, get pretty contentious. And here's Hutch too. But yeah, go ahead and answer that one.
I think one area where I improve on the formula with like Dean and Parker being from this area, I focus a lot on discipline and self-control. And I think there's a lack of discipline and self-control, and a positive form of, and I'm not going to pretend to be like the most masculine person ever, but it's really pathetic how baby like people are talking and acting nowadays. And it's okay if you don't know something, but go ask somebody, have these conversations. We're on our houses. Everybody wants to go live in a suburb so we can all buy our own glass basketball backboard for our driveways, but no one will invest in one nice one for the entire community. And then we complain why we don't talk to each other anymore, why we're on our phones every day. And the only things that we fund are there's a bar and a church on every corner, there's casinos, and that's about it. So I'm very aggressive. It's about holding people accountable, bringing back like personal responsibility. I think I want to represent a pro-America left as well. We should be reclaiming the American flag, reframing it for our purposes, not ever abandoning it. It's a tool for liberation. It could be a tool for oppression, and we need to win that fight to command the flag in that direction. So dealing with people, I have some compassion, but also the way you talk needs to be stern. It needs to be strong. It can't be flimsy like some of these Democrats on TV who are like, it might be a war crime. I don't know. Oh, what are some war crimes Trump did? Well, I can't really think of any. Well, don't do a public statement talking about it then if you're not ready for a media appearance, Alyssa Slotkin. Like, be ready for it, you know?
All right. Wow. Your elevator pitch is very well prepared just off the top of your head like that.
Hell yeah. I'm curious. You can hear me now, right?
Yep.
Hell yeah. So you mentioned, Jolah, the Appalachian angst that you're familiar with. Talk to me about JD Vance in that context, because JD Vance has this story that he comes from Appalachia and that he's speaking to this unheard, left behind flyover country, as it were, either in terms of his policies, which are more catered to the domestic worker, or at least that's how he sells it. So talk me through the figure of J.D. Vance. Do you view him as an outgrowth of a genuine, culture that you know about, or do you see him as kind of like utilizing that message, and with the influence of all like the tech stuff going on there? So I'm curious your take on JD.
That's a really fun conversation for me, because when I started interviewing for jobs coming out of college, I actually got the comment a few times before JD Vance went like outwardly ultra nationalist, whatever you want to call it. Wow, your story sounds so much like the Hillbilly Elegy. I heard this many times doing interviews. And that let JD Vance sneak in the door when it comes to liberal types, even trying to get everyone to think he is the example from rural America. And the really interesting thing is I don't think JD Vance ever won that group over. I think he is such a pathetic politician. He can't do that grift correctly. And that's why he had to have Peter Thiel payroll everything. He had to win a free Senate seat. He was only in it for 2 years as a freshman. He got that guaranteed slot as a vice president, which is so dumb by every metric. He was a terrible pick. But the crypto gods, I know the far left wants to say APAC controls everything, but the crypto gods have a far bigger influence on this current government, far bigger. And they got JD Vance in there. So yeah, he's definitely a fake and a fraud. He doesn't sell it well, which I think is to our benefit. But the fact he's able to be so successful as such a weak orator and public figure, it kind of scares me, because the same JD Vance with some jazz, some sass. Well, he has sass, or he's really sassy right now. But with a little bit more
sass.
skill and charisma, that would be very dangerous. And we do have some of them coming up.
Well, I'm curious.
You're gonna get canceled saying APAC doesn't have more control than anybody else, man. What are you thinking? You're in trouble now.
Some control, but the APAC, I mean, the crypto lobby by far, and you could even intertwine some interests between different lobbies with the crypto lobby, even with Honduras right now, that Trump interfering in that's for the crypto lobby. This is all Greenland is for the crypto lobby. Most of our actions in Saudi Arabia, crypto lobby, UAE, crypto lobby, Qatar, it's all crypto lobby.
Who controls the crypto, Jolah? No, a serious question. So it seems like you're positing that JD Vance was incapable of kind of capturing the rural, poor demographic that he purports to. Well, I'm not saying he's lying about coming from it, but he's definitely grifting off of it. But you think that he captured almost more like the liberal mindset, the sympathetic, empathetic liberal who sees, oh, you're a poor person and you were able to rise out of this, and more people need to see your story. Is that kind of what you're postulating?
Yeah, and that's probably why all these fake centrists like Peter Thiel had sympathy towards JD Vance. They're like, wow, this is the perfect image of what we need to get all these dumb rural whites on our side. But it turns out like we do have Republicans right now in the Senate who probably play the dumb rural part much more, because it's better to just say like broad statements to not answer questions. And you see when JD Vance tries to answer questions, he sounds like an absolute freak. And he is a freak. His beliefs are terrible, disgusting, scary for America. But yeah, I don't think he's very successful. Have you seen Jolah?
Have you seen the effort post? Like whenever he's trying to respond to specific criticisms on Twitter or like in the zeitgeist, he always goes by this like formula where he'll mention the criticism, then he'll make like a super long Twitter post that goes past the normal character limit, which ends with, "Why are we mad about this when we should be mad about like some totally different topic?" It's so canned, it's so prepared. And yeah, I feel like people disengage when he starts getting into his actual ideas, which are all kind of like offshoots of this Yarvanite, like anarcho techie typey thingy, when he's not trying to like play that role. And even now, you speak about the APAC, the sentiment and cancellation. It seems that he and Trump himself are kind of walking around eggshells about the Groyper situation, where they won't, at least at this point, outright condemn them. And I think that speaks to, on the one hand, I think that there is a fear. I think you're right about that, Joel. But I'm also like, I take it as potentially a sign of weakness, that there is not much to this foundation and this facade, and that if Democrats, seize the opportunity, that they can make some inroads.
Yeah, I agree. And it's so every Republican is so damn sassy. Everything they do is so sassy. Like, oh, please excuse me. You actually should say sorry right now and like respect our dear leader. It's so pathetic. And I wish And we do have some Democrats calling that out on its face. And the issue is largely Democrats come into office trying to do policy, trying to make lives better for people, or they try to get elected on that because Democratic voters want to see that. So the incentives drive politicians in that direction. These Republicans are literally all reality TV stars. They're all reality TV stars, even down to Charlie Kirk's wife is a reality TV star and who is in music videos and stuff. They are all from talent agencies. Ben Shapiro, failed theater boy.
Shapiro, yeah.
Matt Walsh. Oh, he is so sassy. You probably know what I mean by sassy. Like and Knowles, look at Matt Knowles' cover photo on YouTube.
Theater
so
kids.
Sassy. They're all theater kids who couldn't make it in theater or arts. They're mad about it, just like Hitler with the failed paintings, and now they want to get vengeance.
I don't know about you guys, but I feel like the Republican part. What's up, boys? By the way, I hope you guys had a good.
What up,
Thanksgiving.
Hutchie? Happy thanks.
I was a little under the weather for a week, so if I sound a little not great, that's why. But I think the Republican Party right now, I feel like they've made cruelty their entire brand. And I think that the pendulum swing away from that is the most predictable thing ever. Like, I don't know if it'll go back to like peak woke 2019, 2020 stuff, but it will move away from the cruelty. I think it already is. I don't know about you guys, but like, I feel like JD Vance made a miscalculation. Like he thought that he could ride off the coattails of Trump, but Trump kind of like plummeting in popularity was kind of predictable as well.
Well, you can be cruel, but you have to improve people's lives. You know, you gotta like their financial situation has to get better, and if it doesn't, they're gonna vote for the other guy.
I'm curious about with respect to the lives getting better. IRI, do you feel that the American people currently are, well, at least in the polling, you ask them, they say, you know, Trump is making everything worse. But on that front, do you think that there's any situation in which the Trump administration can claim victory?
I think they're going to try to, but people are going to believe their eyes and not the lies coming out of Trump's mouth. I think the election 4 weeks ago in New Jersey and Virginia gave us a sense of where the American people are at right now with how they feel about things. And I think tomorrow we're going to see more evidence of that.
They're fucked,
in
bro.
the Tennessee 7th election.
They know they're fucked too. They're fucked.
Yeah.
They're fucked right now.
But Pisco, to your question, like, can they turn it around? I don't see how, because you can't bring the prices down. They're never going to come down. And that's what people are expecting now. And so they're just going to be pissed.
I saw that CNN did a story, or someone tweeted CNN doing a story about like gas prices being at a particular level. Folks, fuel and food prices are some of the most volatile, and they don't capture the full increase in prices and the price level. And even in some measures of inflation and whatever CPI, they're even excluded in the basket of goods because they're so volatile. But what IRI is saying is absolutely correct. Like the prices aren't coming back down, and they were never going to come back down. And that's going to be, that's something that I agree is kind of like a fixture that's not going to go away. I am curious about what Hutch is saying. I'm curious about Joel's take on it, about the cruelty though. Like that did seem to be something where Trump wasn't super penalized for it, or at least that's the common intuition. In virtue of this bombing shit that's happening, is this finally the point where, because we're seeing some grumblings, but I'm kind of black-pilled on it. I don't think anything will come of it. And I don't really think that there will be like a comeuppance on the cruelty part until we start to see these results heavily favor the Democrats.
Well, what do you mean by like, you're talking about holding them accountable? You want to see consequences or what?
Yeah, so like you're saying like the zeitgeist is shifting, or the cultural pendulum is shifting away from cruelty, the kind of politics of cruelty that you're seeing under Trump, where he was able to at least build some measure of a coalition around it. And there's like a kind of desperation of how they're trying to grab hold of that still, where they're blaming everything on illegal immigrants, even down to like seconds after a tragedy happening, they're, blaming it on everything and going back to that politics of hate. Is there gonna be a swing back to that, Hutch? Or if there is, are we starting to see it right now with this bombing, or is this just another like one of those Teflon Don moments where he keeps on keeping and nothing happens?
I mean, I just feel like you should keep your expectations in check, because the very likely thing that's going to happen at the end of this term is he's going to pardon everybody in his cabinet and himself and probably get away with it. And so if you're looking for like that kind of justice, I don't know. I think you should probably just make peace with the fact that might not happen. But at the end of the day, is that really what matters the most, or does it matter to get the country on a better track? So I don't know. I just focus on the latter, and I don't get any kind of false hope.
Joel, you talk to a lot of Trumpers, and They get angry, man. Do you feel like they're getting desensitized to hatred and putting their blame? I mean, you started this whole introduction about who you are with a kind of like, I encourage people to be, take accountability, that kind of stuff. Are you seeing any inkling that the MAGA base is getting sick of the, I don't know, this kind of hatred fueled fight?
Yeah, I think right now especially we need our counter positioning. We need our counter narrative for the American story. And that's why I am so strong on progressives having a microphone right now, because many more centered types are happy to just show up and do their voting and to win their congressional fights and to win their political fights. But right now we have so many Americans, and the fact someone was on Fox News, and we have this every day now with another crazy story, but you could just say, well, if the homeless are a problem, just kill them. Just kill them. I mean, we might as well just do that. And if there's boats in the ocean, just kill them. And my entire life, I heard conservatives talk about how drug addiction is not a disease. It's a choice. That's a personal failing. But now, if you have a boat somewhere with cocaine on it, you are personally attacking the integrity of United States sovereignty. Like, it's so pathetic. And we need Democrats to go on TV and say, how many dead bodies what number of corpses do you need to stand on to push your political agenda? Whether it is Lake and Riley, whether it is the National Guard shooting, these are kids, like young adults serving our country, and it had nothing to do with Democrats and Democrats and with Minnesota and Democrats getting assassinated. I want Democrats going on TV all the time pissed. They should have been demanding on the House floor every single day the Republicans get up there and show their asses and get spanked in front of everybody. Like, they should have been like on this story. It should have been pounded home, not only just because it's politically proficient, but you should be pissed that these assholes are anywhere near our centers of power. And we have people like the guy who wrote the Unhuman book, a top advisor to the president.
Sobek.
Yeah, Jack Pussy bitch. He wrote that book. He can call Democrats that. He's a top advisor to the president. Democrats, they got to go on TV and give a super strong counter narrative, in my opinion. But is it winning? I don't think so. Hopefully.
What do you think that progressives need to do to like take over the party? We talk about this a lot on the stream, but I want to get your take, because we've had a conversation about this before, and I've liked some of your takes. We've disagreed at times, but yeah.
Exactly what Zoran did in his media answer the other day, where you would ask Hakeem Jeffries, will you endorse Zoran? He's like, well, with the integrity of the Constitution, and maybe someday I might give an opinion someday on the New York, what's that race again? Anyways. And they'll ask a question again. He'll say, I'm unsure about the integrity of the future of the, it's like you said to, Hakeem Jeffries a question like that. He has no answer, or he seems like he's punting over and over again. It seems weak. You ask Zoran, should Hakeem Jeffries be House leader? Yes. You have to just be very strong, your hand should be unwavering. You should be a strong leader of the party, take control of your position right now, like Zoran in New York. Show you can get things done, and then you can, like I said, be stable, be strong, be someone who's not going to say like, oh, I don't know what to say right now on media. Like, be prepared and have a strong hand, and don't be, don't act like. And Zoran's doing a good job. Rejecting the very outside, I would say, activist types that have no intention of influencing inside politics, keeping them outside of the coalition as much as possible, influencing like the DSA to not endorse Ase, for example.
Speak plainly. I'm so tired. I totally agree with what Joel is saying. I think that these people should come up and say, this is murder. This is murder. Our government right now is a party to murder. And how long are we going to keep watching it and just sitting around while it occurs? What do you think is the last skeleton in the closet? Is the last shoe to drop? I feel like those kinds of messages are way more effective than the kind of canned and rehearsed and cagey. I understand that people are like fearful, I guess, of government reprisals in terms of like them coming after you with the DOJ, but they're going to do it anyway. I mean, they're already talking about getting Mark Kelly on like a court martial for just saying the bare, like, you should follow the law. And we should all be standing behind Mark Kelly, obviously, but I think it should be stronger rhetoric.
And Pisco, remember,
yeah,
they say war crimes. What war? Why do Democrats say war crimes?
Yeah, no, I hate that too. I hate that framing. I hate that language. There's no war. This is murder. That's a fallback argument. No. I mean, like, it is a fallback. There's something about the war criminal that carries a stink with it, and people, jump to it. But I do think it's a fallback argument. The argument is, well, even if this were a war, which it's not, it would be a war crime. And maybe it's the fact that the reason they're glomming onto this is because it's such a specific, fact pattern that's in all these regulations that specifically, if it's shipwrecked, you're not supposed to do this kind of strike. So it fits the fact pattern so juicily that people immediately want to apply it. But that's the problem. Like the first step is to look at this and say, one, we don't know who the fuck these people are, and this administration is not going to be willing to give us that information and not like going to be transparent. And number two, at most they are accusing them of drug trafficking into the country. And if that is the engagement of war with the United States, then fuck, I guess everyone who is part of that trade in the interior of the country is engaging in war against the United States. But we would never countenance like drone striking in the domestic United States against these people who are engaging in war. Though if that was what was happening with a real war, you would expect like Lincoln sending the troops to go kill Confederates, or you can imagine President Obama going and strike like, I don't know, a sleeper cell of terrorists in the United States with drone strikes and stuff. So
we're gonna send a Reaper drone to blow up a trap house, Pisco. It's gonna have to start happening.
It's so like I agree with Jolah. I think that what's going on here is because it's such a tantalizing fact pattern that so clearly fits the war crime, they want to map it on. But I do agree that, like, first and foremost, this is murder. This is an unjust killing, causing the death of another human being without any justification. That's murder. And so I agree with you, man.
Well, to stand up for the Democrats a little bit here, let me just say that we now have Republicans saying they're opening investigations, the armed services committees in the House and the Senate, which are headed by Republicans. Plus, Mike Turner, former chairman of the Intelligence Committee in the House, said on the Sunday shows that this would be a war crime. So, I understand it's not the messaging we may think is most effective, but ultimately the biggest hit, the biggest pain is going to come when Republicans start turning on themselves and people like Marjorie Taylor Greene quit the party. And I think that the Democrats' messaging has led to this point. So, I mean, I know it's not popular to stand up for this. And same thing with like the Epstein files. I think Democrats have done a great job with that. We got the 427-1 vote, and that was because of the messaging. So, I mean, Jolah, do you give them props for at least the Epstein file stuff? Do you think they hit the right notes on that?
The thing I would say really quick to respond to your point about the war crimes, we need to stop being happy that Republicans meet us in the so-called middle on some issues that are just human atrocities. We should be saying it's murder, and they should be running away saying, no, it's not murder. It's just a war crime. That should be their defense. It should not be somewhere we have to, have them just like agree on very basic things. Because I mean, you can argue that every president we have does some type of war crime, and the left is going to do that. The Tim Pool populist fake, not fake right, the real right, the idiots will do that as well. I just want Democrats to come and I don't know, be a little brash sometimes, just sometimes. And I agree with you, there are wins here, but we're winning, and with Epstein as well, to transition to that, we're winning because they suck. We're winning because they keep on, they're banging their head into a wall because they need to bang their head into a wall because there's no way out. They're refusing. They're very complex and also very simple creatures, and we kind of know what they're going to do in these different scenarios. But
let me
I'm not going to beat
you
themselves,
then.
in my opinion. I don't know.
Let me challenge you just real quickly. We are tethered to the truth. They aren't. They can bullshit all they want. We tell the truth because we're decent people on the left. So how do we deal with that?
That's a great question.
Do you support lying like I do?
I don't think you're advocating lying.
You support lying?
Jolah?
Do you support lying?
I unironically,
lying
I asked Rokana this. I said, when do we start lying? When do we just start like propagandizing? Like, is that something we should ever do? Like, can we ever get to that point? Like, is it worth it? And he seemed to think no, and I kind of agree. I don't know if what's the point if like we're just in a lie war? I'm sure with all the smart Democrat minds, we could end up lying better. But it's easy to influence.
End result,
like it's just not.
The end result is what matters, right? Does it matter how we get there?
I think it matters.
Yes, I think it does, because I think it's a race to the bottom, and I think at that point, like if no one believes anything, it's just who can propagandize better, and then you lose the propaganda war, then you're fucked.
We're not lying though, right? What we're talking about right now is just them.
No, we're not.
We're saying.
I'm saying, when do we
are afraid to say the
play
truth because they think it doesn't pull well? Like when Van Hollen went to El Salvador, everyone said don't do that, and it was the opposite. And he made the right decision there, in my opinion. And I'm not going to say like it's the only reason why the public turned against the Trump admin on that situation, but I think it's a big. You have to make it a story, and MLK talked about making things more dramatic, and Zoran being a former actor helps a lot. And you don't need to be an actor in a sense of lying. Democrats cannot be reality TV star actors. We need actors in a sense that we are documenting American history as we're writing it. And we need people who can act it out according to what we need to do in the future to make America, put America back on its pedestal.
I think
I didn't hear Jolah to be. No, I didn't hear Jolah to be advocating for lying. I was to the contrary. I heard him suggest something to the effect of like, in these cases, the truth will set you free. Like, if anything, I hear him saying things like, the Democrats are being too weak on the messaging in that they're not adequately describing reality, or the proper way to look at things. And to the extent that he's calling out the messaging, it's for not speaking truth to power enough. Now, I think that there will be instances in which, full on candor might be very, very difficult for Democrats for a bunch of reasons. But we are in situations in which it is not, like, the truth is on our side and we should wield it like a weapon. And so I don't think that we have to make this like Faustian deal with lying. If for any reason, I think that causes all sorts of problems in the long term. And just look at what's going on with the Trump movement and MAGA. They can't keep their story straight on anything, and it causes internal divisions and frictions and lack of identity. But no, I didn't hear Jolah to be advocating for that. To the contrary.
I don't, I feel like the Republican Party is kind of giving the Democratic Party a layup right now. So I don't even know, like, we would have to make a pretty big effort to fuck things up before the next midterm, and I assume before the next election as well, but I don't want to get too complacent. I'll give you my projection in a couple of years, I guess. But no, I think the bigger question is, what do we do the next time we have power? And that there, we have these natural limitations on power in American liberal democracy with our, anti-democratic Senate and electoral college, and we have to contend with these things. But we either need to have a serious conversation about getting rid of the filibuster, or we need to start being more honest when we're running campaigns about, like, not over promising. But I just don't know if that, I don't know. I feel like the bigger question, the most important question right now is just like, what do we do the next time? Because, I really loved Biden's legislative agenda for the most part. And I thought he did a lot of really good stuff, but that was not enough to secure him a W. So, like, what is the next president going to do?
Well, how do you compete with Trump? He's saying that each one of these boats is responsible for the death of 25,000 Americans. This is cocaine on the boats, not even going to America. It's going to Europe, according to Washington Post. Cocaine isn't responsible for the majority of drug overdoses. And we're just going to go out there and say, well, these murdering people. And, I'm not trying to give anybody a hard time here, but it's like, that's not going to carry much weight when Trump is lying his ass off and saying 25,000 American lives are being spared every time we blow up a boat of 5 anonymous people.
I'm not sure that the polling bears that out. I mean, if there is a polling that bears out that the American people are buying Trump on these like drug, I don't know, missile strikes or whatever, maybe I haven't seen it yet, but I don't know. Like, that's maybe not. Regardless, it seems to have struck a nerve, as Hutch pointed out, with at least the leaders of these relevant committees in Congress. And I think that it's a possible way of exposure. Maybe the war crimes angle they've calculated is more like apt to be heard by the American people. But I don't know. I almost feel like sometimes it's over curated. In this case, I don't know that it's necessarily this intentional thing by Democrats to water down their message. To me, it's more likely that the reason they're going with the war crime angle has to do with, again, just like the fact pattern of it, the second strike of it being so outrageous and so beyond the pale illegal and so beyond any kind of argument. But in general, I guess I take Jolah's critique, which is, I wish the Democrats spoke more plainly. And I don't know what the hell they're going to do to level with the American people when the next shutdown fight happens in what now, IRI? A month and change?
End of January.
Oh boy.
I don't know if
get ready for that, Loop.
I don't know. I think Trump might cave on these subsidies, and that'd be the end of it.
It's not really up to Trump, though. The Republicans have indicated that they don't have an appetite for it at all. So even if Trump wants to do it, like, he's kind of impotent right now. He couldn't get him to get rid of the filibuster. He couldn't get them to, like, block the release of the Epstein files. So I don't know if he's going to be able to pressure them to do concessions. I think, like, the most likely outcome here is that the tax credits will expire. The Republicans will dig their heels in, and the public will broadly blame Trump and the Trump administration for it. I did find a YouGov poll on the Venezuelan boat strikes. That's the only poll that I found. They said 42% said that they strongly or somewhat disapproved, 27% said they strongly or somewhat supported, and 31% said that they were not sure. That there's a pretty decent plurality of Americans think that the boat strikes are not kosher.
I think.
Yeah,
okay. Well,
go for it,
yeah. I was just gonna say, like, the important thing is kind of what you're saying, Pisco, is hammering in that second point. Like, to IRI's idea of if you can make this very simple boiled down message of these people are killing 25,000 Americans, that's bad. That resonates so much better with people than, hey, I'm going to explain to you international law and war crimes. But I think if you hammer home here is a video footage of people shipwrecked and are not posing a present danger, and we blew them up in the same way that the Chelsea Manning thing blew up, where we had an Apache helicopter just wipe these, what was it, like reporters or non-armed combatants off the map. People will see that and say that is not just. If we get videos of that out, if we hammer in that unjust part of it, I do think people will flip on this. It's not the war
get
crime,
to the story of it. Yeah,
you murdered surrendering or defenseless people.
This is why talking to Trump supporters is a big deal as well, because when I talk about messaging, I agree with IRI and Hush when it comes to the message you send on C-SPAN or in Congress. And I agree that with the military, if the military is going to look into this and in the framing of war crimes, that actually does make more sense in that purview for these committees to be investigating. But a big criticism with Democrats is that you're going to have a conversation that is policy facing and then public facing. And Democrats far too often bring that policy debate or discussion to CNN. When I talk to a Trump supporter, I hear what they understand, what they convey from what someone else might say about a policy. And you laugh at Trump when he says something really dumb, but that was a big narrative of the 2016 election where many Americans read at 8th grade or 6th grade or 10th grade reading level. And I would never bring that up. I'd never bring that up because it sounds very demeaning, and it probably is. But you have to know that when talking to people, like, oh, these war crimes should be tried by these committees and that committee. No, on CNN, or if you're on ABC, which is a more broad audience, you got to bring that PR, baby.
Yeah, it worked with Kilmar. I felt that it worked so strongly with Kilmar to the point where the administration reversed its position. I even have people giving concessions in these conversations because they're mad that Trump brought Kilmar back. Now, there's a facial reason that they brought Kilmar back was to charge him with these other crimes. But the truth is they did bring him back. And that's because I think very clearly that the Democrats are winning the PR war on they're sending them to gulags without due process of law. And they're sending them to torture dungeons. And they don't even know who these people are. And that, to me, it's like you have at least allegations of fishermen, innocent fishermen. Allegation. I'm not saying that I know them to be innocent, but at least the Colombian president has represented these people have nothing to do with drugs. That there have been individuals who are not affiliated whatsoever being killed. We don't fucking have this information. And if you can just hammer home a story, I think that they could be making much more of what's going on. I'm glad. Well, this was a New York Times story, right? That broke the whole second strike. Was it New York Times or Washington Post? It was Washington Post. That's right. Yeah. So Washington Post bring this out, and now everyone's attention is on it, and it happens to coincide. I wonder if there's a little inside baseball on the Mark Kelly, Alyssa Slotkin, interview. But let's be honest, Mark Kelly, and this is to Joel's point, Mark Kelly and Alyssa Slotkin, they're not our most excited or best messengers. Now, I support Mark Kelly and Alyssa Slotkin or whatever in this kind of fight. But part of the reason why I was ridiculing the conservatives at the notion that Mark Kelly and Alyssa Slotkin were inciting people to violence is because they're kind of middle of the road, kind of not super, excite the passion type senators. And I just wish that we had a more strong and aggressive message. Maybe I'm not the perfect PR person, but that's my take.
Wasn't it kind of aggressive to get up there and, send a message directly to service members urging them not to follow illegal orders? I mean, that seems pretty direct, right?
I hear you. So on that front, maybe I would back off from saying that message isn't I'm glad they did it. In other words, I am glad that they did it. I'm just in general saying the aftermath of that, it does feel like we are sometimes rudderless, and sometimes that there isn't a coherent story that we're telling.
We need Zohran Mamdani saying the same thing, eating halal food, walking down a New York street and talking about sedition and illegal orders, because somehow that resonates better.
Yeah. Trump says the seditious six, and everyone is blasting seditious six, and they're all speaking kind of in a unison with his latest propaganda line or something. And I almost sometimes wish that we had some figure to as a lightning rod to say the truth, but to say it in a kind of memorable way.
But it seems like putting out that video
bangers. Yeah, it was something. It shaped the narrative.
It was smart, right? So
it was
putting
smart.
out the video was smart. But will anybody give them credit for that? No,
I'll give them credit for that. No.
I know you
will.
Back
off.
Pisco. Yeah. And it's I could make the argument for the Epstein files, Ro Khanna kicking ass, and getting Marjorie Taylor Greene on board. I can make a case for this. But in the end, I think people just expect something that can't happen from the Democrats. And that's because you'd have to lie your ass off to get there. You'd have
You don't need to lie. It's a strong media appearance approach. We won the first quarter when you put.
Give me an example, then, Jolah.
They had They gave their message about possible illegal orders behind the music, that they're going to get donations on TV for puppies or whatever in the background. Like that video was very bland, but it was something. It was something. I agree. But the back and forth is what you win with in this modern political age. The back and forth on media every day. And Ro Khanna, he is on every single
everywhere
establishment media on TV. He's on CBS, CNN, MSNBC. He's on Breaking Points. He's on Fox News. He's on every single show everywhere, every day, every few minutes. He's on a new show. And so was Zoran. And Jason Crow did really good, by the way. I'll give Jason Crow a bunch of credit for that. Like Jason Crow is really good in his media hits, but he's also not exciting for clicks. But he did really good.
Did you guys know that the more followers that politicians have, the less popular they are nationally?
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it kind of makes sense because like the most active ones and the ones that get the most engagement are the most partisan politicians, and those typically don't have the highest approval rating. But yeah,
I never really thought of that.
People who use social media are more likely to use social media. Like, don't vote. Just like I know it's not a direct inverse correlation, but like I was thinking Jonathan Jackson, the representative, is like the son of Jesse Jackson. Like for all intents and purposes, should be like incredibly famous. But he has zero social media following. All of his tweets get like 1 like. But then you go and you watch when I watched him on all these tours, it's like, oh yeah, like all these communities know who you are. They all vote for you. They just don't use Facebook. They don't use Twitter. I would assume it's also the kind of like an inverse correlation there, where like a bunch of the older people who are engaged in the community and politics, they don't care about tweets. They don't care about posts.
I don't know, man. I feel like boomers are online more than like Gen Z and Gen Alpha. Have you ever hung out with your boomer parents? Like my dad stares at his phone and scrolls through Facebook like 10 to 12 hours a day. I'm not even kidding.
We're not on Facebook.
They're scrolling, but they're not posting. Like my dad's doing, like the New York Times spelling bee for like 4 hours and like Duolingo. So it's not so much of the, hey, like I'm trying to shit post. He doesn't know what a meme is, even after like, 10 years after the mainstream breakage of memes. So I don't know.
I have a question.
Here's what I'm like starving for. Sorry, Joel, go with your question.
No, I mean, you might be able to answer it with this question, what you're about to say, because I really want to, and Hutch brought up like getting clicks and then local popularity. I'd love to hear everyone's opinion because she said she's leaning yes. Do you know who I'm talking about? To run for
Crockett?
Yeah, I want to hear Jasmine Crockett.
No,
James,
no
opinions. Yeah.
No, I'm not in support of it. I don't think that she's competitive statewide.
Wait, leaning yes to what? Can someone tell me? I'm not
Jasmine Crockett running for Senate in Texas.
Well, look, one of them's going to win. And if anything, the more candidates you have reaching different people, the better, because they'll all coalesce around the final candidate. So I don't have a problem with it. I think Jasmine would get some people excited who otherwise wouldn't be involved. And then when she gets behind the candidate, if she doesn't win, which is likely, then those people will be excited for the candidate. No?
Well, I thought the question was like, who would you pick? Not like, who would you...
Oh.
I'm so fucking Tallarico pilled. Like I feel like that guy was like engineered in a lab to win a Senate race in Texas. Like I don't know. I think there's something interesting about this guy that's preaching scripture and the teachings of Christ, but through like a liberal framework. I feel like that, and he's also, I don't know if you guys have seen his campaign ads. He's also running like explicitly like very nonpartisan. It's very populist, to be honest with you. And I don't know if that's a recent shift for him or if he's adjusted himself for this race, but I think that's what it takes in Texas. And I think if I agree with Pisco, if the primary voters choose Crockett, I think she's going to get smoked, and we're gonna give up like a really winnable seat. I think.
Hutch, this raises the classic question that I'm not sure if there's like better analyses on these, but do Democrats doing diet Republican policy and or rhetoric do better and win over, or do they present themselves as the less intense and synthesized version of said policy? So if he's going to be the religious figure, but everyone's like, wow, but this guy's more religious, right? Like he's doing the religion not the way my community is that gonna, you think that's really gonna resonate? Or
I say nonpartisan, but I don't mean to say that he's presenting himself as like a conservative Democrat. He's by all intents and purposes populist, progressive. So I wouldn't consider him diet Republican at all.
Okay.
Well, he's running as populist Jesus.
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
What's wrong with Jasmine, though? Like, you guys said you want some more fight. She called Governor Abbott Hot Wheels. So, I mean, she's got a bunch of
That's a separate question.
In the chamber, dude. Come on.
That's a separate question. I have no problem with... I have no problem with her being one of her. I always feel like we do this kind of like switch halfway through the discussion, IRI. But like, I don't have any problem with her being part of the coalition, but they're separate issues. I wish what I'm starving for, I guess this is an opportunity to say what I was going to say, Jolah, are like these lib warriors, man. These fucking warriors who are like Jasmine Crockett types, but are just fucking lib-pilled and strong and stand on business and progressive as fuck. And that are competitive, statewide. And I don't know what it is, what the special sauce is, but I feel like sometimes I see the progressives, and this is maybe why I would be attracted to someone like a Jasmine Crockett in like any other race, is because she does have energy, she does have fight, she does have ganas, and I respect that.
But why
I want everyone to be like that. I want everyone to be like that, and it pisses me off when we have these geezers.
But why not here in Texas?
Not in Texas. You don't want to run a diehard Democrat in Texas. I don't.
The same reason Paxton's not. Wait, come on. This is not. Listen, I'm a realist.
Why are you reticent? Why are you reticent about her then?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't think she's competitive.
Yeah, that's the reason why she's not competitive is because she's like diehard Democrat. I think.
No. You guys. I think it's because it's partly Texas. Because that, but I partly think it's because she's a woman, and I'm just saying, to be honest, and not that I want it to be something else, but I'm just being real with you. Like this Senate seat matters a lot in Texas, and unfortunately, like that's my take on the electorate in a lot of these areas where it's super, super hard. Like, when is the last time have we ever had a female governor in Texas? I'm curious, and I don't think that that's like something
governor
that
or senator
in the future. I don't know, for statewide position.
We're talking about Senate seat, right?
This is Senate, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Well, let me ask you. It looks like her favorability in Texas is only -4, and that's within a margin of error. Which is that? Do you guys, are you familiar with like Beto or any of these other Democrats that may or may not have similar? Is that good?
What were their favorabilities?
I don't have her here, so it's like I just pulled it up. I can look at the other ones right now, but I would have expected that, given her, in the same way we say like, hey, AOC, great politician, horrible optics. I think the hate machine has been like grinding against her for years, and like I don't know how well she'd do in a primary. I would have guessed the same about Jasmine Crockett, but -4 within a like 3% margin of error, not that bad, honestly.
Here's the thing. I think Texas is a long shot, so I think we can get more people engaged and activated. That's
not a long shot. It's not a long shot this year because they're going to nominate that fucking Paxton guy.
Ken Paxton. I'm not even sure.
It's a very competitive primary.
I mean, the polls that I saw, I don't know if they've shifted, but they showed him with a distinct advantage. And if they nominate him, you can see it in the polling, like match him up against the Democrats. He does way worse than the others. But I think he beats Crockett. I'd have to look up these polls.
So I just looked up Talarico in the same system, and he's +4. But again, this is a 3% margin of error, and a vast majority of people just don't know who he is. So I don't know how that would change, but a lot more people know who Jasmine Crockett is.
He's got the sauce, man. I'm telling you guys. And the left-wing populace, you should be happy with him too, because he's doing the whole like it's not about left or right, it's about looking up and doing
the Andrew Yang, the forward party. Okay.
Apparently there are Texas-wide, statewide females, so I was wrong about that. So fucking take the L there. 90s. But listen, I'll take a closer look at the polling. What I saw was not very promising, but maybe you're right. Maybe I'm overlooking her.
I'm an optimist, but I'm not so sure this is the year we take Texas, man. I'm sorry, guys. I hate to be the downer here, but if things go amazingly well, then yes. But I think we have a better chance in Ohio. I mean, I think we have a better chance in Iowa or Alaska than Texas. But hey, maybe you guys are onto something.
Bro, I don't know why you would be, like Texas is a bit of a mirage, right? Because you want to believe it every single time. But this year, dare I say, it really is different this year because the margins are just so bad for Republicans right now. So that puts a whole lot of states and districts in play that should not be in play. Just the fact that the Republican Party and the Trump brand right now are just so like down in the gutter. I don't know why you would think that this year, like you would be skeptical about a win because the Democrats are best positioned this year than they've ever been in modern history.
I don't think it's enough. I do agree with you. Let's see what happens tomorrow. We got a seat that Trump won that district by 22 points. I mean, if there's an upset there,
that's the margin. That's the margin in Texas. I mean, even with Kamala, what did Trump win by? Like 15, 10, 15, something like that. And Biden's was even more than that, smaller. Yeah. Wait. I don't think the margin was that much.
In Texas,
more in Texas.
I don't know how big of a poll this is, but
it was 14.
Could you guys see this? You said he won by 22 points, and right now it's like a 2% margin. That's wild.
But we already knew
What do you
this.
think,
We
Jolah?
already knew that they're like the Republican Party right now is fucked. Like I sometimes don't understand the urgency with the conversations that we have. Like I understood them maybe like closer to the election in November of 2024, but the Democrats right now are just positioned extremely well. So you know, I don't really, you know, I don't really. Yeah.
What does our guest think? Jolah, do you think that we can win in Texas this year?
I think we should all take a second to celebrate how this is probably the most I've seen every Democrat pour their hearts into a race, whether it's Kamala Harris or AOC, Al Gore, even coming out for a fundraiser or a call to get out to vote for Afton in Tennessee, and just seeing that actually happen, and it's very nice to see. I haven't really seen someone who would be considered like what do they call her, Tennessee AOC or whatever, because they like doing that with like copying names. But someone who's more like far left, and she had an edgy podcast. And it's really good to see Democrats supporting candidates like that, especially for Hutch. I know Hutch said getting rid of filibuster might be a good conversation for the future, which is why he's eventually going to be endorsing Graham Plattner in Maine.
He will.
If the primary voters choose him, he has my support 100%.
Yeah.
I just think that would be a bad decision.
Well, it's not up to you, Hutch. It's up to the Maine peoples.
I accept that. I accept that. I'm not.
You're like
I'm
a
not
mom. You're like a mom who desperately doesn't want her son to do rock climbing. You can do rock climbing if you want. I just don't think it's a good idea.
This is more like, you know, doing free solo on a like El Capitan, but yeah.
Oh, you're into what's his face? What's his name? Someone help me. What's his name?
Did you ever watch that documentary?
Yes, I did. It's called Free Solo.
Bro, I have never experienced anxiety like that watching a movie in my life. Yeah.
Alex Honnold. I got it before anyone. I didn't see chat. Alex Honnold. That was
some guy just fucking died on El Capitan like 3 weeks ago. There was part of it caught on videos. Yeah, it was horrible.
Isn't it just like wildly irresponsible because you're like, there's no reason to do it other than the thrill? Like you might as well have the harness.
Yes. I don't understand adrenaline junkies. Yeah.
Would he be in a movie if it wasn't for having no harness?
True. Hey, that's a good fucking point. I want to address something that like, why am I concerned? Like, why the urgency? I feel a little bit of an urgency because I do not rest on my laurels on any election, even the election that we just had, where I was going into that. I was very confident that we were going to get some W's there. So that's number one, is I never rest on my laurels there.
But you didn't know that it was going to be that much of a bloodbath.
No, I didn't know. I'll be honest. Soypill and I were, it was an early night for us and we were loving every second of it. Why I feel the urgency is I'm concerned about governing. I'm concerned about whether the people in charge are going to be able to deliver for the American people in the right way. And I do think that like this thing doesn't end with Trump. And so I'm trying to think about the long-term health of the country. And this is where I'm channeling a little bit of the Econoboy spirit, which is the filibuster and reforming it / getting rid of it. Reform is, by the way, it's a euphemism for get rid of. That's just so everyone understands. When I say filibuster reform, I mean axe to filibuster. It's it needs to be a non-negotiable because the Democrats will never have the margins they need in the Senate to get the change they need to protect this country from itself. And that's going to require having based as fuck senators with straightforward, plain speaking leaders, including the Senate majority leader, to do what it takes to get that shit done. And I don't see that out of Schumer. And that's why I go hard on him.
Wow. More Schumer hate.
Not that I necessarily disagree with you on the filibuster, even though like I'm like 60-40 in support of your idea of getting rid of it. But oh boy, I think I just lost my train of thought there.
Well, here, Hutch, let me
you agree with me. That's all I heard.
I'm gonna ask.
I'm getting over being sick. Hold on. Fuck.
I'm gonna ask you a question. I'm gonna ask you a question, Hutch. Maybe this will trigger your memory.
I'm sorry. No, wait. I just realized. Okay, so what's up with the fatalism when you say like they're never going to get the kind of majorities that they need? I guess you mean like a 60 vote threshold. I don't understand that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean 60 votes.
Yeah,
I don't see that.
I mean, people were saying the same thing. Like in 2002.
Let me adjust. Let me adjust. They're never going to get either they're never going to get the 60 with the and in which case they would need the that threshold, that the getting rid of the filibuster. And the same reason why I'm concerned about them implementing those kinds of reforms and having that kind of leadership is why I'm concerned about them getting to 60, is because I think that we're not learning, and maybe it's for the reasons that Ezra Klein, cites or whatever, but for whatever reason, the party brand is shit. That's fact number one that we just need to deal with. And that's why when Jolah comes in, it is shit. Right? And it's cope to say otherwise. The brand is shit.
Ass 4 weeks ago. What are you talking about?
In spite of the bad brand.
Get out of here in spite. You don't win by 15 points if your party brand is shit. But go ahead.
I think you can. Point. No, I think that the brand is shit by any, like, the metrics that we usually assess brands to be bad, which is we ask people, do you support the Democratic Party? Do you have a good, favorable view of the Democratic Party? And they'd say no. And I know that's a lot of internal dissent, but it's never been lower. And I do think that there are a lot of, just like, this is the point where Ezra makes that I totally agree with. We've given up on half the country. The exact places that Jolah, I think, is talking about when he starts this, we're not even competitive there. We're not close to competitive in West Virginia, which was all blue for the longest time. We're not close to competitive in Ohio. Ohio was the perennial swing state. We're not close to competitive in Florida and all these different places. We're fighting for that 50 fucking tight split. That's all we're fighting for. And that's scary to me. And I don't know that, that's where I say, the brand is weak, because we ask people, they don't like the brand, and we're much, much less competitive in a wider array of places.
I think. Can I just really quick add to what Pisco was saying, just in case this wasn't clear? I think that the reason we are winning so much is much more to do with how unhappy people are with the current admin, and less of, wow, we're so engaged with what the Democrats are offering us. It's just, hey, this is the other option. I really don't think it's because the Democrats have a resounding message. I
agree with you, by the way. But as far as I think the fundamental problem for the filibuster for the Democratic Party specifically is that it very much disadvantages them. When you look at the Republican Party and the things that they want to do, the kind of aspirations they have for what they want to do in the country, they don't need 60 votes. They can do tax cuts with budget reconciliation every few years, and use the executive authority to just gut the agencies and diminish them and defund them. The Democrats, the stuff that at least the voters want, are things that are much more transformational. You can't do.
Oh, sure. I mean, that's one of many structural disadvantages, Hutch. I mean, you're absolutely correct about that. I just don't understand how that affects the calculus going forward. And I think the calculus is someone needs to do the work to repair the brand. Maybe that's Jolah. Maybe that's IRI. Maybe that's Hutch. I don't know who it is, but I think the first step to fixing it is acknowledging it's real. And I feel like every week we're here, and it's partly we cover the news and we love that, and we do a little jokes and memes and stuff. But part of that is having this come to Jesus moment of, is there even a problem? And the fact that we're winning elections, I think it's a bit of a mirage, because on the one hand, yes, it's great, it's wonderful, and we have good candidates in different places, and the Democratic Party is more tactical, specifically about the candidates sometimes it places, or the kinds of people it recruits, at least more so than Trump. But I don't think that should be seen as a overall, we're doing great as far as the brand is considered.
Joel, jump in.
That's someone to address. Yeah.
It's hard to say, because with Virginia, for example, I think you could have ran the Kool-Aid man and he would have you could have ran no one and they would have won. That was possibly the worst Republican candidate in American history. Yeah. So it's really difficult to put anything on that race. I think Cheryl showed a really good model on how you could be a really aggressive liberal. I think she did pretty much what Mamdani did, with a lot less airtime, because I think Mamdani used very advanced media techniques that were not used by other candidates. But Cheryl is a good example of how to use that power and to really, I'm going to call it emergencies, a state emergency, and we have to deal with these emergencies right now. And that feeds into the filibuster, where we need Democrats who are going to show government as that aggressive tool. And whatever way there is to legally make government be put into action, be loud about it, be very descriptive about what they're doing. We need that to happen. We have a very radical authoritarian party rising in America who seeks to destroy all government, only the parts of it that protect freedoms, and maintain the parts that are fully authoritarian. and that's why I think Janet Mills helps fascism, to be honest. I think her getting in there would actually hurt us. I think it would make the Democrats look worse.
Fascism? Is that what you
now
said?
I hope she beats Republicans. I hope she beats Republicans, okay? But she is very milquetoast. She is the same Chuck Schumer center that is making us fall apart right now. Chuck Schumer is one of the most unpopular politicians in American history. I don't want an 80 whatever year old version of them being a freshman in the Senate if I have that ability. And Graham Plattner is not ideal, but also it'd be kind of fun.
Can you elaborate? Because I know you're going to start a whole conversation. I was going to trigger Hutch, but it seems like you've lit the spark. Why would she aid fascism only insofar as she's too milquetoast to affect change and combat it? But what do you mean?
She gave a compliment to Susan Collins like 2 weeks ago, like a month ago. Like, you cannot be best friends with the people that you need to defeat in this party. No, you cannot be friends with these Republicans. You need to be very aggressive publicly, at least publicly, even if you're friends behind the scenes.
And Mamdani's palling up with Trump in the Oval Office. I'm sure you were quick to condemn that.
I'm actually in the middle on that. I don't know how I feel about that exactly, because my main thing with Mamdani is he needs to be unrestricted. Yeah.
Wait a second. Mamdani was going to essentially a diplomatic meeting, but he specifically did not back off of this guy's a fascist, right? The whole point of me praising Mamdani was that he didn't actually undo his principles by showing up to a meeting. We wouldn't have like a problem. I don't know what the comment was from Janet Mills for Susan Collins, but Susan Collins is horrible. Trust me, I know. Susan Collins is horrible. And I do think that one of the big problems among these Democratic insiders and even senators is they're all pals. It's kind of like basketball nowadays. This is what the boomers will always say, right? It's not like the old days back with the bad boys in Detroit Pistons where they would all fucking hit each other. Now they just like high five each other because they're all on the same team and they're all like, they trade around all this stuff. There's no loyalty anymore. But I kind of do feel like that way sometimes with the Senate, that they don't think Trump's that bad, that they all think that they're controlling him and they're all like friends behind the scenes. And that kind of pisses me off a little bit. Now, when Mamdani goes in front of the Oval Office, I don't think that he's showing that he's buddy with Trump and he's going to do all the things that Trump says or that they're friends behind the scenes. I think he's doing no more than like the equivalent of a state visit and he's being cordial. That's very different from like stepping back from Trump.
Then what?
Being
two legislators working together, you know, or
well, what did she say? I mean, Jolah brought it up.
Working together for their constituents.
Yeah, like how is this any different than Bernie Sanders kind of being like, "Yo, I love
fuck Bernie when he does that.
I love you know.
Oh yeah, I hate that too.
Thomas Massey, we work together. It's very nice, but you know, I don't.
I hate this. But we hate this when Cenk does this. Like literally, when Cenk does this, it drives me crazy. I'm talking about Cenk Uygur right now, but it happens with other lefties too. They're like, Marjorie Taylor Greene, please, we need you in Congress. Same thing with fucking like with this lunatic Massey. They're like, oh my God, please, won't you please stay? These guys are crazy. Marjorie Taylor Greene especially. This is a woman who put aside everything on the past. To this day, she's like indict Fauci for these like imagined crimes. She's a horrible person. And we're playing around with this fire. Like these are our enemies and we need to treat them as such. Now, I'm putting myself on the line because I don't know what Janet Mills said about Susan Collins, but I don't think that they should be like complimenting each other.
So Susan Collins is a Republican that has been serving in a pretty blue state for like the last 30 years. So I feel like the voters of Maine probably, if I had to guess, probably like on paper say that they appreciate bipartisan efforts. So that kind of rhetoric coming from Mills could be totally perfect for that specific electorate. Like you don't need to go for the jugular, especially for like Susan Collins of all Republicans. I understand that she's awful and everything, and she's cast some really horrible votes, but she's certainly not even close to the worst Republican in Congress.
I mean, Democrats tried that before, didn't they?
But let's
tried what? What do you mean?
Running this type of candidate, like the past like 5 times they ran this candidate, basically.
Well, what was the woman's name that was the speaker?
Gideon, right? Was it Gideon?
Gideon,
yeah,
Sarah Gideon. Yeah, she was pretty youthful, and I know she wasn't a progressive, as if I recall, but I mean, it didn't work running her. I just think Maine is unique. It's old as shit. It's basically split 50-50. You know, you got guys like Jared Golden that win there, and then you got Republican governor and now Democratic governor. So I don't know.
Jolah, what do you know?
Whatever can win, I don't care.
Jolah, what do you know about Mills? Like, can you tell me about any of the policies she's implemented as governor, or?
So the main thing I know about Mills is when she challenged Trump on the trans issue. When it comes to Trump attacking Maine for trans athletes, I think, and she said, "I'll see you in court," which I think was. No, I think that was really good from Mills. Now, with her state, and you want to give me a gotcha question, I could tell by her PR stances and the way she speaks in media, what she does shotgunning this alcohol in front of these sports events, and she looks out of place completely. Then you have Graham Plattner coming up talking like a pirate sailing in from a faraway land.
I don't know. That's a little.
I'm just saying right now. I have a personal.
Hold on. It's a little dubious to label someone as centrist when you don't know anything about the way they govern.
Oh, come on! Wait a second.
When we call someone a centrist or we call someone a progressive because of the policies.
Well, she doesn't talk about policy. She does. She doesn't talk about policy. She talks about just how she wants to do bipartisanship, and that's what we don't like in Maine that much. That's why she might lose.
She's a winner.
The voters do like that because they consistently, there are millions of voters in Maine who cast a vote for the Democratic candidate for president and for Susan Collins to be the senator. So there's a lot of people in Maine.
Susan Collins is a known commodity because Susan, yes, Susan Collins is a known commodity. I know the good people of Maine, and listen, they have a bad streak. They have this psycho who was governor for a long time, LePage, and now I think he's running for Jared Golden's seat actually. And like, holy fuck. Yeah, it is a kind of state that, you know, very much loves their gun rights. There's a lot of like old industrial place in specifically in the 2nd district, which are very Trumpian like voters near Lewiston. So like this is a state that has its peculiarities and definitely like it's not something that we should just assume that we know from afar all the policy what's going on. But like, is it really contested, Hutch, that Mills is a centrist?
Yes,
do you really contest that?
I contest that. I mean, when I looked into this during the Plattner stuff, like she is not by any means a centrist. Like if you look at some of the more progressive, like environmental stuff she's done, it's like, yeah, she's not as populist and progressive as Graham Plattner, not close.
But it's all relative, though.
It's relative. It's all relative. To call her like a Chuck Schumer, I heavily disagree with that. I think she's much to the left of Chuck Schumer, and I also don't necessarily think that she's, you know, like, well, okay, go on.
She's not.
Would it change your mind? Would it change your mind if she identified as a moderate? Would that change your mind if she said, "Hey, I identify as a moderate"?
Not really. It depends on what her policies are.
Well,
I think you guys hate her because she's old.
We're conflating.
That is a big issue. Yeah, wait, that is a big issue. I don't know why we have to stop. Like,
he's old as shit.
That's what
he should retire.
He should retire. To be fair,
the main thing people call in to say to me are that the politicians are way too old. They're sick of the old politicians, and I'll say that the thing I worry about when I think about politics right now in America, and the reason I support like Talarico in Texas is the rise of Christian nationalism and the rise of this form of masculinity that has lost the modern era. They see women succeeding, they see minorities succeeding, they see immigrants succeeding, and the only way they know how to reclaim power is not getting better, is no discipline, no more Jordan Peterson conservatism where they clean their own room. Their way of getting power is through domination and through force, and that is the main reason we get fascism rising in a country like America. And these men that feel like losers in America, they'll turn towards anger. Think about a man who punches a hole in the wall instead of talking about his emotions because he can't cry in front of a woman because he's traumatized from a young age. Like, these are a bunch of men with daddy issues in America. And my big thing when I talk to people, I want candidates who I can go to, men who maybe there's some shitheads. Okay, there's a lot of shitheads out there. I could say, you know what? Although you're a shithead, you may have done this and this and this and that. I have this Graham Plattner guy. He can still be this guy. He can still do he has some crazy comments about his time overseas. I'm surprised progressives are not really talking about how he enjoyed the work he was doing. Like, he obviously enjoyed what he was doing and being proficient at it, which he himself has said is you know, a negative thing from his past, but it still is a thing you would probably talk about. But I can still say, like, this guy could be toxic. He could be masculine or whatever. He could still support trans people. He could still say unequivocally he's going to support these different things that are considered to be woke and weak and feminine.
But he's a liar,
and
Jolah.
I just like men like that being in politics on the Democratic side. Not like John Fetterman. There's nothing. John Fetterman, when they compare him to John Fetterman was in Pennsylvania politics for a very freaking long time. He did not come out of nowhere. He was always who he is until the brain injury. He did a campaign in Pennsylvania. He went to every town to talk about medical marijuana, and he was big on getting that passed in Pennsylvania. He did take a shift. All of his staff left after the injury, and whatever happened to him, it's very sad actually. But there's no comparison between them.
I think it's.
I know nothing about Plattner either. I agree. I agree with Hutch though. We don't know much about him. We don't know anything about him.
I don't trust Plattner, and this is the reason why. Like, I'm I don't know who I'd vote for if I were in Maine right now, because one is like a kind of devil, in that for the age issue, that it's a big issue and concern of mine, the age and lack of energy issue. That's what I mean by devil. I know I'm not suggesting that she isn't doing a good job as governor or anything like that, but I don't trust these types who want to sell just on populist language when they're getting caught in lies and doubling down on lies. And that is a very unfortunate choice. And I do think that it's selfish in some sense for both of them to throw their hats in the ring, for both the progressives and the more moderates.
I just want to say to Jolah, I understand where you're coming from, and I can respect that. I think the Democratic Party and the left is seen like a sissification, as I would call it. You said sassy. I say sissy. I think we need to toughen the fuck up, and we need to be a little more direct with people and show a little more acceptance on our side.
You're making soy pill.
I get where you're coming
right
from.
now.
I'm rock hard right now.
Dark woke, man. Just start saying the R word, right?
No, I think it's more about just kind of talking about things the way people talk about them. That's kind of it. So I understand. I think that's where Joel is coming from. Like, he wants to see more of those kind of guys in the Democratic Party.
I mean, Mamdani did that really well, and I don't know. Sure. Do people consider him like super masculine? Is that what people identify him as, or I don't know. I'm not. That's a legitimate question. I'm not throwing shade here.
I don't think people see him in a hyper gendered way.
Yeah, just authentic and
partner's
on
hot.
message,
I know they
not hyper masculine.
I
guess he does have a hot partner. That's true. All right, that's a little bit to his credit.
I don't know, man. I thought it was alpha as fuck, that guy going to the White House the way he did. Like, he just walked right into the lion's den. I mean, that showed me that guy's a fucking fighter.
I agree. And then people out there think I hate on Mamdani or something. I think he's done a great job, and I'm excited for him. I think his policies are awesome. I think he ran a great campaign, and any criticism I have of him are not even worth talking about. So I'm fully on board, and I thought he did a great job in the White House. I just bring it up as, an example of hypocrisy and to call people out. That's all.
Have you ever criticized a Democrat, Ira? I don't think I've ever heard you criticize any Democrat.
Rarely.
Ever.
Pisco, not only have I heard him do it before, because he has. I've heard you say that in this podcast before.
When?
Rarely.
Said what?
Like you say, I've never heard you criticize a Democrat to IRI in this.
Have you? I'm wondering what it would take.
No, it would be like me criticizing one of you guys. Like, there's no point, there's so many ghouls out there and just fiends that I'd rather focus on them. So I keep my powder dry for my side.
Hallelujah.
I welcome IRI criticism. If you have hey, the soy pill, his last video was too long. I want to know about it. All right.
Jolah, you were talking about like fascism rising in the country, and it's not that I'm not alarmed or super concerned or even scared at times when I see the Trump administration and the current state of the Republican Party. But I got to say, right now, fascism in America is fucking losing. They just are. The path that they're on right now is not a good path. Like, this is, we've seen 2 high-profile resignations. They are not going to be the last. If the Republican candidate loses in Tennessee tomorrow night, I guarantee you we're going to see probably more resignations in the next few weeks. Like, they are not doing well. Like, if I compare Trump now and the Republican Party to, the ascension of the fascist party in Italy and the rise of the fucking Nazi party, they are not on the same path. Like, they are heading in the wrong trajectory right now.
That's my big question. I actually wanted to ask this at some point, because it's something I ponder pretty often, and I'm well aware that my brain might be intoxicated from being on websites like Twitter, which is like just purely propaganda in favor of America militarizing and going to civil war. That is like the main goal of it. Russian propaganda and Chinese propaganda, and Elon Musk is a huge purveyor, obviously. And we gave them all our information with Doge, so that's going to be really fun someday. But all these different January 6ers that are now members of ICE, all these thugs and criminals and PDF files as well that Trump released because he's friends with them as well. They travel in flocks, like Kendrick said. Do you think all of these idiots who are hyping themselves up on Twitter constantly, like, I am radicalized, they sound like emo, I'm radicalized for the 18th time. You don't know the beast you've unleashed. They brought us here again. Yet I'm radicalized for.
But I think that's a part of it. I think that crazy culture coming out of the right wing right now is a part of why the Republicans got so utterly demolished a few weeks ago. I don't think it's just Trump. I think he remade the entire party in his image, and they're all trying to emulate his cruelty and machismo and misogyny and ultra nationalism, and it is not going over well with voters. I understand that we lost last November. That was a brutal loss, and this is not just cope. That should have been even more of a bloodbath for Democrats. And the fact that they only won by just a bare tiny amount, and they're already now on this path that's just leading them to electoral disaster, is for me super encouraging. So it's not that, like, when I see them engage in that kind of rhetoric, of course I'm concerned about everybody in the country who might be affected by that kind of hatred and whatever policies they implement whenever voters give them power. But right now, like, the American people are soundly rejecting that version of politics.
My main question is, just really quick, my main question about this is the ingrained power of these institutions, and like OpenAI and Palantir and Musk. These are the most powerful men in society, and they do want a surveillance state in America. China already has one. They want to do something like that in America, and like Big Beautiful Bill establish that perimeter around America, which is really scary as well. They're scanning license plates and violating all these different freedoms. My question is, if we're going to challenge that head on, and how do we get like ICE? We don't need to talk about just abolishing ICE all the time, but how do we get these radical militia members outside of our government, even outside of politics? It's also like, if we're not going to tackle these individuals who are many dictators in our society today, at some point societies like this usually collapse. And the next iteration of MAGA to be ready for, the Marjorie Taylor Greene MAGA, and Nick Fuentes is already doing it. They're going to be bringing in the left-wing rhetoric as well by taxing the wealthy, and combine it with the anti-immigrant rhetoric. And that is, it might be dangerous. It might not. We really don't know. It could be dangerous. And I just want our rejection of that.
Hutch, you're going to be fighting this for the rest of your life.
Oh, I have no illusions about that. I have no illusions about that. I'm not saying that they're like literally going to die out, but if in the short term, at least for the next like 2 to 4 years, like they're not doing well right now. And so, I mean, like, if they lean into the Nick Fuentes stuff, I'm telling you, that is going to be just a fucking disaster for the Republican Party. Like,
that's what they thought about Le Pen. That's what they thought about Farage. And listen, they haven't won yet. So, but like, if there is no other alternative, no ideological base in the Republican Party that is gonna cohere some kind of story, some kind of through line on everything, and if the only through line there is ethnic or America First nationalism type, Groyperism, then that's what it's gonna be, and that's gonna be the opposition. And then your one inflation crisis, your one scandal, your one old guy who can't let it go away from absolute disaster.
Like, Hutch, I'm skeptical in the same way you are that like the majority of the Republican Party would accept this, but at the same time, I'm getting like major LSD flashbacks to 2015 of, we'll never have a Trump presidency and we'll reject this, and like the videos of Marco Rubio and
Fuentes is a fucking neo-Nazi, just an explicit, out and out neo-Nazi. And we have a big problem with a lot of like bigotry in this country, but the problem is not that big to the point where someone like Nick Fuentes and that movement could ascend to be like the dominant wing of the Republican Party and then go on to electoral success. If you're looking for some kind of encouragement or some kind of like sign that that's not going to happen, I just point you to the electoral results over the last like decade, where Americans have overwhelmingly and resoundingly rejected extremist candidates all over the fucking country. I
think Trump is an extreme.
I mean, I understand that Trump is obviously a big outlier here, but when you look at the more like district level races, the state level races, the extremist candidates have been getting fucking stomped. You brought up Virginia, that race like 15 minutes ago or 20 minutes ago. She was a crackpot lunatic and she got demolished. And there's many such cases of extremist Republican candidates getting like whooped.
What's going to rise from the ashes, Hutch? Or I'll ask Ira do this too.
Before you move on to that, I want to address something you said, Hutch, which was Nick Fuentes is an open neo-Nazi. I think you're already seeing the way that they're conflating and obfuscating that and allowing him to purvey into this like Tucker Carlson thing. He's going on with influencers because, yes, I can go look up right now clips of him being like, "Oh, I hate Jews, I hate black people." It's so obvious, right? But at the same time, they're able able to like kind of make this lying narrative where it's like, well, he only feels this way about a certain group of people, and really he just hates.
We disavow the hate. We don't actually hate anybody.
And it's like, oh, that was out of context. And like, I think there are perceivable ways, and again, I'm skeptical this would work, but like, I don't think it's impossible that the American people could be duped into voting for a guy who runs on a massive, overwhelming, gish galloping platform of populism with a little right-wing bend and ignores the more insidious parts below that. I think that's completely possible.
I mean, they're patient. I guess, but if that was like, if there was a very real risk of that, at least in the immediate, then you would have seen Trump lean into the like that stuff like way more than he did. Because it's true, he did run on some extremist positions, right? But like, he also made overtures to like moderates, at least rhetorically. Obviously, he was lying, but like the fact that he distanced himself from Project 2025 when he was campaigning, obviously that was a lie, because
this
they've
is
done
cyanide for a general. It's cyanide for a general election in the main, for sure. But the question isn't, in general, are they going to be electorally like worse off if they embrace corporatism? I think that everyone here would acknowledge they probably would be, but they would be. I do not see a plausible right now. Someone else to take the mantle of Trumpism. Yeah. Like who else? And this is, I guess, the question I'll ask for IRI or anyone on the panel is like, who is going to emerge from this anarchy, from this power vacuum after Trump is gone, that will unite, if such a thing can happen, the Republican Party or what's left of it? Do you see JD? Do you see Bush coming back? Like, I don't really see
Jeb.
Who. Yeah, it's not going to be Jeb. Like, who's it going to be?
They're fucked. That's what I'm saying. Like, I could be wrong, but
no,
like,
it's someone's going to get in there. They don't lack for people.
Something will take over. We don't know what it is, though. I think it's too far. I think 3 years from now. Yeah, eventually. But I think they might be, out in the open waters with no paddle for a while, wondering who they are. But they'll figure it out. I mean, it was very short-lived, like the Tea Party, and then something else came along. So big things can come out of nowhere.
But it won't be Tim Miller. It won't be counterpoints.
No.
It's not going to be those people. Those people are so far from the power, like Liz Cheney's. They're not going to do it.
No. It's got to be something exciting, but we don't know what it is. And I think it's just an unknown right now. It's too far away. I mean, look, 3 years from now, AI may have decimated entry-level white-collar workers, and we have 10% unemployment in America, and that's the biggest issue of the day. And some guy comes along who has the resume to meet that moment on the right, and they become the party of something like that. So I don't know. Who knows? But I think what's happening, the only reason why Trump resonated in November was with the culture war bullshit, is because it was a boogeyman. It was someone to blame for why your life sucks and you're in the position you're in. Now he's in charge, so that culture war stuff doesn't resonate as much, because it's like, hey, motherfucker, it's been a year, and kicking trans people out of sports hasn't made my groceries come down. So Democrats are in a wonderful position because we're the party of affordability now. We fought for a shutdown for 43 days over saving people money to keep their health insurance. And so I think that is our messaging moving forward. We are the party of affordability. We're the party that's going to make your life cheaper, and we're going to ride that wave.
Jolah, what do you think? You've been quiet for a while. What did that address your concerns? Are you assuaged?
Well, I'm concerned on a couple fronts as well, but there's one positive domestically with our current like Republican Party. Half of their debates right now are whether they should hate Jews or Muslims more. And it's really interesting. You can kind of predict which foreign lobby they're kind of getting kickback from. A couple of them, like Tucker, we know is confirmed from Russia and Russia and Qatar and other Russian aligned forces. So he spreads anti-Semitism, and he welcomes in Fuentes, largely, in my opinion, to go against the Israel support in the Republican Party. Then you see Laura Loomer, who I think is the pro-Israel and possibly getting paid as well. And I don't know, it's all speculation based on their alignments. They might also be crazy. Fuentes might be crazy, might be getting paid. Who knows? But regardless, they all have their own narratives and reasons for why they should hate Muslims or Jews more right now, and they're tearing each other apart from it. And JD Vance is getting torn apart because his wife, he refuses to defend her. He talked very glowingly about Erica Kirk. He refuses to defend his wife for being different faith, possibly for being different cultures, for having different backgrounds. He refuses to defend that, and that's what Nick Fuentes is also attacking as well.
Well, not just refuse to defend. Just to add, he literally said rehire the guy that said normalize Indian hate. Like it literally cucked out to the neo-Nazi Doge.
This is one of the reasons why they're fucked, is because like the Fuentes wing, it's not big enough to like totally take over the party, but it is big enough to totally like fracture that coalition. And I think we're seeing the early stages of that right now. Like the fact that Vance is reluctant to defend his wife, just as you said, Jolah, indicates that he's concerned about the kind of influence that the Fuentes kind of wing has. And for at least for the short term, that is an albatross for that party. To Pisco's point, what does that portend for the future? Like, I'm not going to tell you that they'll, Fuentes will just never be successful. I can't tell you what's going to happen in 10, 20 years. I mean, Pisco, you said it perfectly. Like one recession or one Great Depression, who the fuck knows? Like who comes into power at that point?
And he's not a grifter. I don't think that Fuentes is a grifter.
Yeah,
I don't think that he has a foreign sponsor.
That he's saying. Yeah, for sure.
Is Hassan paid by China, or is he just like very pro-authoritarian regime?
I doubt he's getting paid. But he
I don't know. Like I think the comparison to Hassan, like Hassan, do we think that he is a committed ideologue? I don't know, but I know that Fuentes is. Fuentes is a committed ideologue.
I think
Hassan won't like win a election because Nick Fuentes would try, and Hassan would be like, vote for
who would America vote for? Hassan.
I think Hassan is addicted to attention, and he gets a lot of attention from saying these sort of things. I don't think he says them just to get attention, but the more he says along certain lines, the more attention he gets, and he loves it, so it feels safe for him. But I think Nick Fuentes is getting popular now because Trump is failing to deliver on his promises, and Nick Fuentes is giving his base, or people that like Trump, a comfortable boogeyman instead of like, Trump sucks. It's like, no, the Jews are screwing it up for us all, and they're holding back Trump, and he's losing it to the Jews, so it's like he's just giving them a boogeyman to take the heat off Trump, basically.
I do think it's disgusting that people. Well, speaking of Hassan though, like and Fuentes, I don't know how many of you watched the interaction Hassan had with Cenk. I usually watch them because I think that they're funny. They're funny because
I'm watching it tomorrow.
I disagree with, but Cenk is like running cover for Fuentes in that discussion, and Hassan is like the voice of reason, being like, you can't trust these people, like whatever. And that is, I just don't know. We can't underestimate our enemy. We cannot make the mistake of underestimating our enemy, and we got to know who the enemies are, and we need to speak frankly. And so for me, my enemy is MAGA, the elites who are running this movement of grifters and conspiracists and corrupt people. My enemy is also these groypers, and I do think that they're on the ascendancy. And I want a Democratic Party, gets back to like our point, a Democratic Party that's ready to take them on and that's at their absolute strongest. And that means being able to speak plainly the way that, Fuentes is able to speak plainly. And that's
I have a big question about the American. Right now, I've been looking into. I mentioned before, like the foreign lobbies and like Tim Pool as well being tied to Russia. And one large thing they do is to try to make America have a civil war. They support civil conflict, and so anything that degrades American society is beneficial to them. They're spreading every day. They spread a new anti-science conspiracy, and we have Peter Thiel talking about the Antichrist and bringing back science from the cosmonaut era of the Soviet Union. And he's very pro-Russia as well. Then we have Saudi Arabia buying our cultural exports, buying global talents, whether it's soccer, gambling. It could be for Beast, basically Mr. Beast having something there. I Show Speed did a Chinese propaganda tour as well. So we have all these different countries picking America apart, and part of it is because any country can come in and buy whatever they want in America, largely. And there is a threat where China buys farmland right outside of our military bases. That does happen. And with how Ukraine penetrated Russia with the drones to take out their bombers, drones are a very big thing right now. And our drone technology for war is being sold to Donald Trump Jr.'s drone company out of Florida. So right now we're being picked apart by all these foreign entities. China is integrated into our electric grid, and there's so many things happening. Laura Loomer walked in the Oval Office and got her NSA chief fired, and a bunch of other national security officials fired.
Wild.
Laura Loomer, and that's why I said again, she's definitely getting paid because she's not going in randomly with a list of names. Maybe she is crazy. I don't think so. I think it's geared towards some type of end. But yeah, dude, are there any opinions on how we? I don't know. Democrats win. How about we protect America? Democrats have to win, but yeah.
I don't know what the fuck they're waiting for, because I feel like if there was a coordinated, like if you imagine a digital infrastructure attack where just, we got hit by a bunch of, different countries at the same time, and they literally just took down the entire power grid, took down the internet, we would collapse into complete like chaos and lawlessness and anarchy within, I think, 48 hours. Like that's how divided I think it is in the country right now.
No.
So that's
if the power grid shut down, you think we would be in a apocalyptic scenario in 2 days?
No, I don't think of that.
3 days,
Not
tops,
two,
bro.
3 days.
Hops.
Mr. Potato was trans. We almost had a civil war over Mr. Potato being trans. Dude.
No, we didn't. That was online.
No, I said some I said some loaded things.
No, I want to address what you're saying.
Gonna happen. I don't think total war is going to happen with China, but there is a leg they're gaining on our country and picking apart our infrastructure, informational warfare, the internet, all this different stuff is yeah.
No, that's well, your point is good because we elected, we meaning not me, the American people in their infinite wisdom elected someone who like reduced all of our side defense to outsiders by 1,000 and is inviting all of these foreign interests in so that they can take a cut of whatever deal, whether that's literally the Saudis, Gulf states, Qatar, and some of these mineral deals, these crypto deals, these energy deals. So we are at a moment in which we're stopped enforcing some of these bribery statutes and some of these other, the monopoly statutes. And, we're not enforcing the TikTok ban, which was, constitutionally approved by a unanimous Supreme Court, passed bipartisanly and enacted. So there is no enforcement to prevent bribery, corruption, graft, and foreign influence as it stands right now. No appetite whatsoever in the current administration. So that is a huge point to bring up. And I don't know how we get that back.
Who was TikTok sold to?
Yeah. Oh no. Is that deal finalized? Is that Ellison?
No. Well, that's what they
or Oracle.
That's what they were intending to do, aren't they? Or did it change?
I don't know if that deal's finalized.
Well, I think what I was going to say about the AI stuff that you brought up earlier, Jolah, was that for me, data is the oil of like the 21st century, and China has a huge advantage because of their surveillance state and all the data they're able to accumulate. So it sounds like we're getting licked on the AI war right now. Unfortunately, we just have to tread water for 3 years as Trump enriches himself and his friends, and then we get back in power and can finally start competing again.
But y'all be in support of protectionism in America. So like China, obviously authoritarian regime, you need to be in a deal with the Chinese government to have any business there with their hybrid model of state command economy. This might be a good question for Econoboy for parts of that. But are you in favor of protectionism on that basis? Like if China buys, I think they bought like a trailer park next to a military base. Is that something that we should have? I'm sure we do have counterintelligence.
I think for geostrategic reasons,
yeah,
I can stomach it. I'm not someone who believes in protectionism economically. I think that we should have free trade with our allies. But I think that perhaps for geostrategic reasons, if the experts or whoever I'm relying on thinks that it's the best way to cajole China, I honestly think we should go hard on China like the Biden administration did, or find some kind of agreement with them.
Like Obama TPP style, where you like exclude Canada with your trade deals. Yeah.
Go one or the other, I would say. That's my inclination.
Do you guys think that I'm just curious because I don't know if we've ever like had a conversation like this, and I argue with my chat about it constantly, but do you guys think that the AI stuff right now, the applications are just broadly bad? Do you see potential there? Do you think it's a mixed bag? Where are you guys at with AI? There's a lot of anti-AI stuff.
I think it sucks. I think the product sucks, but that's just me.
Here's the thing is I think a lot of people are geared to hate it, and I don't know if I have extra weight on this slightly just because I did software, but I know a lot of people that are still in AI, and I think there's a lot of really good applications for it. Medical stuff, coding. It's great at coding for a lot of different things, especially making things faster. The problem is that people who don't understand it, and even people who do understand it, are trying to use it to replace things that they shouldn't, like art. And it's like, okay, this is like when we don't have jobs anymore because robots are doing them all the time. We should all be doing art and expressing ourselves. And the fact that that's like one of the first things they've come for is pretty annoying. And they're stealing all the copywritten material. Yeah, it uses a lot of electricity. That said, I just read Yudowski's book, If Anyone Builds It, Everyone Dies. And now I'm kind of black-pilled and think we might all die from a super intelligence. So maybe we should have more regulations on it.
This shit ain't super intelligence, bro. This shit sucks. Now, some of the art shit will look good or something. And there's some cool shit like I saw like the Rastafarian Star Wars music that really tickled me for whatever reason. But that's the only AI slop that I've actually liked. It's all shit, and
dude,
especially anything that's like written, dude. I don't think it's good.
Sora videos on TikTok of like bad chiropractors destroying old ladies, and there's just
That's
like one
pretty
video
funny,
of
yes.
there's a guy in a car who gets pulled over. He's got like cheeseburgers all in the car. Like, what's going on here, sir? These are
The
hilarious.
dogs that are ringing doorbells and like
Yes. What about the cats
people?
playing guitar outside at midnight? What are you doing? What are you doing out here?
I kind of like them. Like, I don't know.
I have a question for Pisco about that too. I saw this video where somebody took they saw, and I'm sure someone in chat has seen this. Let me know if you have. He takes a picture of the guy's car when he walks into the store. He makes an AI video of someone stealing that car. He goes into the store and shows that guy a video of his car being stolen, and the guy has a panic attack. He sprints out, like runs over people, tackles them, runs outside. He sees his car is there. But I think that kind of manipulation of reality, I think you should be fined a minimum of $10,000 and possible jail time depending on severity. For
I
that.
think
That is so dangerous.
You could give him a hard
yeah,
time.
that's so dangerous.
I think that person should be in jail minimum a year.
Yeah,
I think I think people are kind of throwing the baby out with the bathwater because there is a lot of slop. Like when I go on Twitter these days, it's actually insane the amount of like AI videos that are pretending to be real. Like obviously that's been a thing for a while now, but it's so ubiquitous now. Every time I go on Twitter, there's like a video of like, oh, a bear, like a baby bear showed up in my backyard, and like I took the bear and gave it a bath, and my dog was hanging out with the bear, and it's like so obviously AI, and like the comments are filled with people that just fell for it. That stuff is obviously trash. But
dude, the Chris Cuomo, did you see the AOC? We talked about this when it happened, right? Chris Cuomo believing the AOC speech.
And
that dude is going through some stuff.
We're just
he is unhinged on Twitter.
We're just in that new paradigm now, and that stuff's just going to happen. But
just
like,
be really clear too. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, like, for example, like today, my camera wasn't really working, and I could have gone down like a Google search rabbit hole, and that would have taken me probably like 20 to 30 minutes to find the information that I needed. I just asked ChatGPT. I told it like, this is a camera that I have. This is the issue that I'm having. How do you think I should fix this? And the first suggestion that it gave, I fixed it.
What
like similar issue. It was
turn it on.
No, it was
turn it off and turn it on.
it was reseat the battery and then unplug the HDMI cord and plug it back in, and then fixed it. And so like similarly, I had a computer issue just 2 days ago, and I spent like a couple hours troubleshooting it with ChatGPT, and it led me down the right path. Like that kind of technology to me is really cool and exciting, and it's going to save a lot of time for people in the future. So when I see people just say like it's all slop, I'm like, there's actually
it's not all slop. There are some searches that it's helped me with. So Grok has helped me with finding certain PDFs. And I'm not gonna. I come on a little bit strong. I didn't mean to. There's some uses for it. There's some cool shit, but like I don't think that it's gonna get to general intelligence, whatever the thing is. Yeah, because whatever is happening right now isn't that.
So to be clear, Pisco, and again, I don't want to go too in depth on this, but super intelligence doesn't mean it's like, oh, this super conscious thing. All it needs to do is be able to change its own weights, because it's all just a bunch of gradients, like with different weights. And if it can do that and not show us that it's doing that, then it can improve its intelligence. And then
but it can't do that, can it? You can just fuck with it, right, with its inputs.
We don't know.
Can't you?
It's already shown the ability to hide things from us. This is the whole point. And the whole book makes the point that the probability of its goals aligning with humanity still existing are just very low. It could happen, but that doesn't mean it's going to nuke us all. It just means why would it ever try to improve itself in ways that also help us? So
the humans making it don't want humanity to survive. Like Peter Thiel can't answer that question if humanity
should
survive. And Democrats, by the way, Democrats are going on that. AI data centers are going to up your prices, cost, and your kids are going to be in AI videos. Yeah.
And Counterpoints I have a debate with Counterpoints. You watch it on my channel, where he's like, I don't know, man. I might vote for JD Vance over Gavin Newsom, when he's bankrolled by the guy who doesn't know if humanity should survive. These are our allies on the right, man. I mean, we're cooked, bros. I think that a lot of people go for it.
Well, I was going to say, like, I don't think this is what you're saying, but I don't think the Democratic Party should run as like explicitly anti-AI, because I don't know. For me, like, I don't think you are, but like some people definitely want that. And I guess like where I'm at with it, and I just treat it very kind of rationally, or I try to be very rational about it. It's an inevitability. Like this thing is going to be more and more ubiquitous every, it's going to be like the smartphone. So maybe 20% of the country regularly uses AI now. That's going to be 95% in like 5 or 10 years. And nothing can stop that. And so the only question becomes, what can government do to constrain and like properly regulate to mitigate harm?
And
like
I don't know. Have you seen Ro Khanna? I think, I don't know. He has this like internet bill of rights, but I think he's also proposed like, he's one of the only people to propose like regulating AI to some extent. And I think that's good. I think like that's kind of like the book. It says like, hey, if there's any way to stop this, what is it? And it's not stop using AI. It's inevitable, like you said. It's, hey, let's regulate this more. Let's have more protections. Let's have like some sort of like proliferation treaty, the same way we do for nukes, but for like between China and us and Russia.
Yeah, be very.
There should be the death penalty for anyone who uploads an AI history video, because I like going and like finding like cool history videos on YouTube. When I find an AI history video, I want to just murder.
They're
I think
everywhere.
that's fucked up.
They're everywhere now. They're
People
fucking,
need to make sure we differentiate between multi-layered reasoning, artificial intelligence versus machine learning that's been around for a very, very, very long time. So like a lot of the medical stuff. And they'll say there's AI washers now, and they used to just be sensors that weigh your clothes and can tell how high the water needs to be. Now they're AI. But like, can the AI tell your kid to go unalive themselves? Or can someone take an AI video, take a picture of your kid, upload it to the internet of them doing something bad? It could be very scary. What can be done with children and other vulnerable populations and other people in general? I don't think it should be illegal for you to take a picture of me and make an AI video of it. At least it needs to be. I don't like it at all. But we need laws around that. And I think a politician can make a video about that part. Like, hey, your child is going to be scanned into these AI databases without your consent and possibly replicated into video. And that could be a Democrat message that wins in these areas that are very conspiracy brained.
Do you guys think that AI regulation is going to be like a top 3 issue in 2028?
No, but it should be. It really should be.
Data centers are the anti-data center signs are everywhere around Pennsylvania. I hit my mic, but the anti-data centers, that is the #1 issue talked about locally, in the entire state right now. Like people are active, they're activated at a local level like I've never seen before. To be honestly,
I'm worried about the regulation side of it, because like our IP laws are old as dick, and it is insane how not prepared they are from a copyright perspective. No one knows what the fucking answer is to this shit. It's going to be something stupid, I bet, whatever law comes out, whatever this Supreme Court says. We just need better statutes to deal with, these different frameworks. Because fuck, I don't know what they write. It's like, what is the fair use criteria? How do we judge fair use from the context of AI? Like, we have never dealt with this shit, and we need Congress to get to fucking work. But they can't, because they're too busy like passing stupid resolutions that don't mean anything, announcing that it's Charlie Kirk Day.
I mean, Guy mentioned it before, but like, a lot of people I think assume that the blue collar jobs would be the ones that go first, but it's more and more the consensus these days that it's going to be white collar jobs that get fucking decimated. And it seems to be an inevitability. And what's crazy is right now there's no plan for that. Like that kind of blows me away. It feels like kind of like the few years before the housing crash. Like where, like we're just kind of headed towards this thing that whatever. But yeah, like that, what happens if like 10, 20% of the workforce gets laid off and there's no fucking plan for that? That's crazy. And then at that point, are we in a new kind of like system? Because like, what are we? Is it still capitalism if we're doing like a mass UBI or something?
You think they're going to let us live if they don't need us for labor anymore? I don't think they're going to let us live.
Well,
dude.
we can.
I honestly don't.
We need
I
our
have no
money.
reason to think that.
Pisco, what is this tweet you linked? Did you want me to show it?
So because the official topic was we were supposed to talk about the bombing, which we did actually. We talked about that a little bit and like the framing of it. But this is Pete Hegseth completely throwing the admiral under the bus. Read this out loud. Soyfeld, read it out loud, man.
Let's make one thing crystal clear. Admiral Mitch Bradley is an American hero, a true professional, and has my 100% support. I stand by him and the combat decisions he has made.
He's drunk!
On the September 2nd mission in all sense.
That's insane,
America has
dude.
pointed at such men protecting us.
Does he think he's being fucking sly? Because like, who was talking about Mitch Bradley?
I fuck with Mitch Bradley.
PBS NewsHour had a...
Also, speaking of, wait,
hold on. Guys been trying to talk for a minute.
Oh, go ahead.
I just say I saw a picture of this admiral on PBS NewsHour. The guy's got like a 200-piece jigsaw puzzle of awards on his chest. I don't think he's going down for this bullshit, man. This guy looks like American hero.
The generals will all fucking revolt if he tries to like pass. I don't know.
Yeah.
All of them will revolt, but there will be a mass revolt if they try to offload the legal liability here.
I just really want to ask, do you guys think this was written by AI? There's 2 M dashes.
Isn't that like a signature thing?
I use
like,
M dashes though.
No,
I use M dashes, and so
no one
people have like
uses M
accused
dashes.
me.
Don't lie, Pisco.
I sent like a very like a message to someone, which was like a highly personal message, like about 2 months ago, and I put M dashes in it, and they're like, "Did you write this with AI?" I'm like, "No, I use M dashes." But now everyone thinks that like I'm consulting AIs to.
I'd probably stop
Rob
using
Noor.
those. Yeah, I'd probably stop using those.
Accusing me of using AI is not just false; it's insulting.
I've never heard this. Is it? It's the 2 dashes in a row that.
Yeah.
Somehow the way
yeah.
it's been trained, a lot of ChatGPT will do the. It's not just X; it's Y with an M dash in between these things. And I don't know. This you kind of get a flavor for spotting those, but it doesn't matter. I mean, like it doesn't detract from the message, but it would, fit the theme of this administration being incompetent and lazy. So,
dude, I took a picture of my beard and then asked ChatGPT for like grooming tips, and it gave me fucking hella good tips.
Grow out your hair.
No, but
what did it say?
It taught me a new thing. Like you do the clippers, but you do them upside down, like along your cheek to get rid of the stray hairs, but give it still like you're not like. I'm just saying, it blew my mind. I was like, "What the fuck? This is awesome!" Actually,
Nice.
Grooming tips. I'll have to consult ChatGPT.
it was exciting. I was like, "Wow!" I just
ChatGPT, am I ugly?
Like,
am I a 7? Please don't tell me I'm a 6.
ChatGPT.
I'm turning into Stan's dad for sure with ChatGPT these days, 100%.
Stan's dad?
Yo, man.
Is it Stan's dad or which dad is it?
Stan's. What'd you say, Randy's dad?
I don't know.
Oh,
you
you're
I don't know the
Randy, like Randy, like, oh, son.
Yeah.
Am I ugly, Stan?
Yeah. Wait, can before we close up? Oh, sorry. All right, go.
Well, I just want to say, I think the bombing thing is about to get really interesting because first Trump claimed that Pete Hegseth told him nobody said that, it's not true, and now it's true, and now you got Republicans like, all right, what's going on here? So this is about to get really interesting. I think it's just warming up. But go ahead, Peace.
I was just gonna say, I want some people to put some fucking predictions on the table right now. Everyone here needs to make a prediction. Are there going to be public hearings where in these Republican-led committees where witnesses are called? That is the prediction I want from everyone here. I'm going to go out and say no.
For the bombing of the boats?
Yep.
There are going to
Public
be
hearings
hearings
with witnesses.
Yes, but there'll be witnesses behind closed doors as well. And
But not just like the regular. What I mean is like specifically about this, not just we're calling you as like your general oversight, but like.
And you're also asking about televised, right?
Yes, televised, and where it's like an actual serious inquiry.
No,
I don't think. I think there'll be some questions lobbed at Hegseth when they bring him in for one of these like I don't know budget fucking things that they do all the time. They haul in these people regularly. I don't think anything will come of it. I hope to be disappointed.
There's more grown-ups in the Senate, so I'm sure that they'll do stuff like behind closed doors. But when the Democrats take back the House, we are going to haul that administration up in front of live hearings like every week. So if you want even more incentive to support Democrats next year, that's going to be one of them.
Impeach Hegseth. That should be the fucking slogan. This fucking drunk.
Yeah. I'm
put in charge.
I don't think anything's going to happen unless we win massively in the House in the midterms.
Yep.
But in the short term, nothing. Like even January 6th was like as big as the hearings we're still a little, in my opinion, tepid. But
they were substantive. They really got into a lot of detail. They hired a proper production crew, so like that part was on point. But unfortunately, I think only like 2 to 4 million people tuned into them, which is decent ratings, but not like prime time, right? So just I thought they did a good job. I'm sorry, I just thought they did a good job on that hearing, but the public did not pay attention to it.
Well, I think they did pay attention. They just cared more about saving a few bucks at the grocery store than our democracy. I don't think people value our democracy more than their quality of life, I guess.
All right, you're onto something. We got to loop these things together. What if we lie, like we were saying at the beginning, they're not drug boats, they're egg boats. They're trying to get eggs into this country and reduce the price of eggs, and Trump is making your groceries go up.
Eggs are down. They got to be beef boats or something like that.
Yeah, beef boats.
Wait, last link. So for those of you guys who know, I had a little run-in with Cam Higbee, virtual,
Ooh.
and you know how they like kicked out all of the neutral press corps. They've just put in all of these fucking liars and grifters.
He was already
like
at the White House.
No,
well, now they're
Cam
in the
is
Pentagon. There. Yeah, they've like taken all of like WAPO seats and AP seats because they're
joke.
like forcing. Yeah, so that they have all the influencers. Laura Loomer has a seat apparently.
I saw the Laura Loomer one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Cam was live streaming on TikTok a couple months ago. I went up there and just dog walked him, man. I like Cam. He's a nice guy, but he don't know shit, dude. Sorry, Cam. You gotta do some more research, bro.
Inform me. Is he a partisan hack or is he what is he?
Yes.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Unfortunately, nice guy, but I think he's just kind of got some attention, and he found a lane, and he's just kind of riding in it. He's in over his head though.
Yeah, for sure. Let's wrap it up. Jolah, you were great. You're very passionate. I really I haven't been exposed to you as much before, and now I'm bullish. I'm bullish on Jolah politics. So what are your thoughts? Give us your final wrap up and where people can find you. I put your link in the description, but give us what you think.
I think that it's very disrespectful to sing the "We Are Charlie Kirk" song in chat. Should stop singing it.
They're asking me to make it my Dono song, actually, and I might have to. And
stop putting Charlie Kirk's face on Shaquille O'Neal. It's not funny, dude. It's not funny.
There's so many of those. Disrespectful, bro.
It's really messed up to do that. And Pisco said,
Shaq doesn't deserve it.
Pisco said Hickseth is a drunk. That's offensive. He's an alcohol affected individual. And I really appreciate y'all having me on. Usually when I talk to 50,000, a couple hundred Trump supporters, every night it gets a little bit tiring. It's nice to talk to individuals who are not calling from a truck stop at 1 a.m., which I mean, that's cool too. I want to be able to reach them and understand someone's reality looking at politics. They may be an intelligent person. They may not be. It doesn't really matter. What matters is what they're told, who they connect to, what they understand about the world. And when we talk about truck drivers and especially men and many women, a lot of nurses are very conservative, actually, especially around my parts of town. When they're at work and they're listening to podcasts for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, how would you be if you listen to Tim Pool 8 hours a day? If you listen to Joe Rogan 8 hours a day? If that's the only media you ever consumed? So that's one area I would be gentle with anyone. They might not know anything else other than that. They're being lied to. They're being forced propaganda that's meant to mentally traumatize them into hating everyone around them and themselves. And with the goal of collapsing our country. And we need to not feed into those ambitions. But we also need to make sure anyone who truly believes these ideologies that want to destroy America, that want to harm other people, that believe immigrants are subhuman animals who deserve to be tortured, they need to be shamed. We have to ridicule them. We have to be very aggressive calling them out. And we have to really just talk to those who are captivated by that rhetoric. There is a better way. There is a different way, and give them some meaning to replace the false meaning. And that's why I am now endorsing Graham Plattner for Senate. He said that he was a very toxic man until he found purpose. He found his hometown. He found oystering. He found his wife. He found community. And that's what took him away from the dark, radical Reddit threads. And we have to save all young men that way. Jolah Politics on every social media, pretty much. I'll be live tonight, probably a little bit later. I just got this desk put together, which really hurt my back.
Hell
so
yeah.
Take a little break. 11 p.m. tonight, taking callers, Trump supporters and everything. But yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming. You've been great. IRI, what do you got going on this week?
Oh, nothing too exciting. I'll just be on TikTok debating what's left of MAGA. I'm hearing a lot of both sides over there. They don't want to blame Trump for anything, so now they've fallen back to they're all corrupt, they're all bad, they're all liars. So, but I'm still trying to. I'm with Jolah. I don't blame the voters. I don't blame the rank and file. These people are like drug addicts. They've been overwhelmed with misinformation, and we can bring them back to the flock, I believe.
I don't know. I have family that lives where Joel lives, and I blame them specifically. I know them, and I know it's their fault. Hutch, what you got going on this week?
Well, I'm back. I've been sick for like a week, so I'll be back at the regular schedule tomorrow, starting at 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. We're gonna watch that Cenk Hassan conversation about capitalism. There's a bunch of videos that dropped in the last week that I haven't had a chance to watch, so we're gonna tune into those tomorrow. Jolah, I just want to say, like, I think I found your channel on YouTube through the algorithm. I'm not really sure, but when I watched a few of your videos, I thought they were very well done. I really appreciated your insight. I'm glad you got to come on today. You got to come on another time because you were a little quiet. So we got to get you more talkative the next time. But yeah, that's a plug for everybody and everybody's chat.
I feel like Jolah's been on the show before.
I don't think so. No.
Never?
That was going to happen.
He does look like
Until I
Xander
got
Hall.
denied.
You had Xander Hall on.
Don't say that. I have to get a different camera angle.
Xander Hall.
Please
Wait, you're
donate to
gonna
Jolah
watch
Politics
the-
and Cash App or Venmo for a new camera so I don't look like Xander Hall.
Wait, Hutch, because it's my turn. I want to shout something out, but I have to ask a question. Hutch first.
That's the worst
You're
thing
gonna
I've ever heard
watch
in my
the Cenk Hassan conversation. Do you happen to know that Cenk has been nominated for Anti-Semite of the Year?
I did.
Congrats.
See that, yeah, I did.
Did I
Along
call
with,
it?
Of course.
along with Miss Rachel. I don't know what I don't know what the fuck Miss Rachel did, but apparently she's a Hamas propagandist.
Bro,
So just keep that in mind whenever you decide to platform such a despicable person.
that's true.
I just want to say that I called it out a while ago that Anna and Cenk are anti-Semitic, and people were like, I don't know, you're being ridiculous.
think-
and then
wait,
now
are
he's
you-
toasting up
do
to
you-
Nick Fuentes.
Oh, he is doing that a little bit. Yeah.
And then Anna does her thing.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Really
Yeah,
put
yeah,
on
yeah.
it.
Man, I'm just saying. Listen, I'm just saying.
Cenk does the Zog stuff. So like I think Anna is for sure like definitely not so subtly dipping her toes in anti-Semitism. I think Cenk less so, but still he still does the Zog stuff. So
Think about
to
it.
wrap up,
Russian
all I
propaganda.
got some videos this week, streams. Keep an eye on them. And I'm gonna be talking this week. I think to Viva Frey, and then next week, Drew Pavlu finally got back to me. He said next week debate me on these strikes, and he'll be taking the position of he supports them. And so
Who cares what
finally,
he
we have
thinks?
someone.
He's Australian.
Yeah, I mean, Word War Debate, the Andrew Wilson new premier debate platform. He reached out, I guess, to Drew Pavlov to have him here. I think we should immediately deport Drew Pavlov if he gets onto American soil because he tried to vote illegally for Eric Adams for mayor of New York. So
With a note
I'm
in the bottle.
that is voting. That's his intent to vote, and he put the vote out to the sea. Who knows who's going to pick it up? That's a legal vote. So I think that we should immediately deport Drew Pavlov if he steps one foot on beautiful American soil. But that's me.
I'm looking forward. I'm definitely going to watch that one. That sounds fun. Nothing crazy for me. UFA debates Wednesday. I'll probably do some news. I, unlike Hutch, still stream when I'm sick because I know that I care about my audience. So.
Dude,
not me.
you guys need to take ginger shots or something, man. What is going on here? Sick for a week? This ain't no way. Dude.
All right. Well, thanks so much, guys.
I'm on your side, Hutch.
Don't forget to live and learn. Tune in next week, 4 p.m. Otherwise, check all these guys out. They're all great.